This is Pan Helper 4 and the final installment of the Pan Helper series. And I don't need to review 25 through 29 with you. Just remember the long notes are the number one mistake of everybody. Count 1 and 2, and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So make sure you're counting that long note. Going on to measure 30, we have a C and 2, and a. What is that note? Everybody always asks me. Well, you can figure it out. You just played a high D. High D is on the space on the second ledger line, and then E would be on the third ledger line, F would be on top of that, G would be on the fourth ledger line, and A is on top of that. So that is an A. And that's how you figure it out. You just kind of count up, never guess. And then, so a high A is fingered like this: thumb, middle finger, first finger, pinky. It's like middle A, except you swap your first fingers. So instead of this first finger, you're going to put down that first finger. That's a high A. Okay? So we go from F to A. We call that a fork fingering. So we fork it. All right? Or a fork would probably be like that, but whatever. We lift up the first and third finger. So F, A, C, D, C, A, F, A. All right? Sounds like this. And you do tongue that high A, which is very helpful. Then you play the low A flat as long as you want, within reason. With nice vibrato on it. Measure 31. You are going to tongue these notes again, like I said in Pan Helper 3. You're going to tongue the notes that are staccatoed underneath the slur, but they're going to be a sticky tongue. So, but maybe more beautiful than that. And it does crescendo. So we want to start soft and go up to the loud. And there's a trill. So we have a B. That's just kind of your chromatic scale at the end, right? G, G sharp, A sharp, B natural. We're going to trill B to C natural. And then A sharp, B, C. A sharp is enharmonic to B flat. So I use the 1 and 1 finger here. I know before we used the B flat thumbs for our trills and stuff, but B natural, since we're coming off of B natural to a C trill. A sharp, B, C. All right, so the whole measure 31 sounds like this. And you're going to slur into that C. And then you're going to breathe. We're right back in tempo on that C. So you need to start tapping your foot on that C. C and up, ba, da, 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 4, 1. Okay, that's a really hard entrance counting wise. So I'm going to do the trill, and then I'm going to start beating right on the C. If you finger it, the 16th notes are C, D, high E, D, C, G, A, E, C, and there's that dotted 8/16. 4, 1. Okay, sounds like this. Now, if you listen closely, you'll hear that I missed 2 articulations. Let me go back and do it again. So pay attention to where your tongue tongues. That measure 33, A flat, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. Again, we come in on the E and a, just like we do in measure 32. E and a, 3 E and a, 4, 1 and 2. E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. So if you finger it, A flat, the 16th note is measure 33, F, G, A flat carries through, please mark that. B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, B flat has a nice legato mark. You're going to kind of play it nice and pretty. And then A flat, G, and tongue the G. Again, here's the same thing that you just played in measure 32 and measure 34. C, D, E, D. It's an E natural, D, C, G, E, C, G. But this time in measure 35, we go to a B flat. B flat, okay? And then the 16th notes are A flat, B flat, and I'm going to go ahead and have my thumb on the B flat side. So I lied in part 3. This is a great place to use the B flat. Unless you're so used to using the 1 and 1, that would be fine too. B flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, B flat, A flat, G. So there's again that same rhythmic motif with a 4, a 1, okay? A rhythmic motif is a rhythm that comes back over and over again and kind of forms the basis of a piece. So this whole section, starting with the trill in measure 31, sounds like this. Get softer. Now that little entrance there is really tricky because we're keeping a downbeat. 1, if I'm counting in measure 37, 1 and 2 and E and a 3 and 4 and ba-da-ba-dum. E and a 1, 2, E and a 2. So again, this comes on the E and a, just like in measure 34 and just like in measure 32. So we have to take a breath. You'll probably want to take it right on the downbeat for a nice, good, sharp rhythm. So now, ad libitum. So this can be at your liberty. However, we need to make sure that we count the right amount of notes. So we have 4 A's to G's, which are slur-toed. Ta, 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 ta. And then on the E and a starts the G tongues. E and a, 4 E and a. So it's kind of like we're poking at this G. But guess what? We do a G trill, but we don't end on the G. Isn't that crazy? All right, so here is the last line. That's a G to A trill, just like this. And then you do the grace notes, F sharp, G, and this last note, oh, please mark it if you need to, is a high E. So the high E is fingered like middle E with no third finger. And you might consider lifting your pinky up for the high E because it helps it to be in tune. It's a horrid note to end on for any flute player. We see that and we're like, ah. So you might, I'll know if you watch the video, if you kind of lean on your trill key a little bit, I think that helps. It helps it to come out just a little bit. It just sounds a little funky, but it helps you to play it softer. So all I'm doing is like nicking my first trill key like that. Boop. Do you see it go down just a little bit? Just venting it is what we call it. So from tempo 1 to the end sounds like this. Actually, I'll do 38 to the end. Ready? Sorry, try that again. 38. We freeze and take down our flutes. All right, that's it for Pan Helper, and you can hear all sorts of people play it online. I would highly recommend that you listen to a lot of people play it and you be the judge of them. So are they good? Are they not? Who would win your solo contest? Just listen to them down, everybody who plays Pan. I'm sure there's some very interesting ones out there. And then that way you get your listening in. You also get, you know, what makes it sound good in. Listen to their vibrato, listen to their articulation, listen to how they play the cadenzas and the trills, and whenever it says ad libitum or the accelerandos. So listen for all of those things. And also, Donjon is the name of the composer of this piece. It's Pan Pastorale for flute, so Johannes Donjon. And if you have made it to the end of this video, please look up Donjon. And he was a French flute player as well as a really great composer for flute. And Pan is a mythological figure. Usually the figure is depicted as half goat, half man, and plays usually he's depicted playing the pipes. So like the pan pipes, which would be the ones that you blow across to make the sound. I have some over there, but I won't play it for you. And look up what a pastorale is, because I can guarantee you that somebody's going to be asked, hey, tell me something a little bit about this composer, or tell me what Pan is about. It's always important to know what your piece is about. All right, that's it for Pan Helper. Have a great practice.